So there was a time that Motorola was once at the top of the smartwatch game. They were the first brand after all to create a circular touchscreen watch face, but due to the lack of interest from consumers, they backed out of the market in 2016. Well, 4 years later, and a third-party tech company called eBuyNow, who license and redesign old forgotten tech from new markets, we've got a brand new Moto360 offering. Now, first up, the packaging took me by surprise when it turned up into the office. Now, I'm not really sure what I was expecting, but it really wasn't this. The box is cylindrical with a lid on top. Now, inside you can find the watch itself dead center with 2 watch straps, one light brown leather for style and one black silicone for fitness sessions. Now, underneath this plate was your instruction manuals and a bit of correspondence and the tiny charger. It was all really presented quite nicely. So I opted for the black silicone strap as I felt it looked a lot better of the two, and to be honest, I'm not really a huge fan of leather watch straps myself, but your taste may vary, of course. Now, hooking the straps to the side of the watch was a little fiddly due to the sheer tiny size of the metal spikes that needed to be fed into a couple of tiny holes on the actual watch face, but it was nothing that couldn't be done in seconds. Now, what was interesting, and I've not seen this before in a smart device or even a mobile phone for that matter, is the fact that my phone recognised a new watch had been activated in the vicinity before I even downloaded the Wear OS software or found it manually in the Bluetooth menu. So the watch face itself is primarily made from stainless steel, and our version of the Moto360 that we received for review did look extremely smart. The screen itself is 1.2 inches in diameter and uses OLED technology, which made the screen easy to read. Now, one thing I did have to do myself though, and that's probably due to my not so great eyesight, is turn the text size up to large and turn automatic brightness off and set its brightness setting all the way up. This was a little disappointing as I felt the clarity of the Moto360 was a little lacking compared to what I've seen coming from Apple and Samsung of late. Now, of course, a brighter screen will also be more of a battery hog as well, so do bear that in mind. On the right hand side of the watch face are 2 buttons. The top enters the menu and it also rotates physically to make it easier to scroll through the lists on the screen. The bottom button can also be customized to open an app of your choice, or it does act as a back button as well. Each button is larger in diameter to the older Moto360 watches released way back, which is a nice touch, and both buttons are very responsive. One thing I did find a little strange is the fact that the screen has an invisible border, making it look a lot smaller than it really should be. Now, I'm surprised the screen doesn't go from edge to edge like we've seen on things like the Apple Watches or even the Samsung Galaxy Watches. So under the hood, what are we looking at? Well, the Moto360 has a Snapdragon 3100 processor with 1GB of RAM and 8GB of internal storage. The watch is also capable of GPS and NFC for mobile payments, which was easy to set up with Google Pay on your mobile. And lastly, a heart rate monitor, because where would we be without some form of fitness integration in a smartwatch? It's pretty much a given these days. Being a Wear OS-centric watch as well also has its limitations, and when I dived into the Android app on my phone, features were a little lackluster again. Inside of the Wear OS app, I can set watch faces to suit my style, set tiles which are reached by swiping the watch face. These range from fitness focused to a timer app to time your workouts, a tile to measure your heart rate, and Google headlines for the top news stories, and also a tile for the weather. So there is, interestingly enough, a hand wash timer clock which gives you 40 seconds to wash your hands properly. Annoyingly though, this didn't seem to pick up automatically like we've seen on the new Apple Watch OS that they've just announced, and you have to activate it yourself manually, making it a little counterintuitive if you need to touch your watch straight after using the toilet. It'll also remind you to wash your hands every 3 hours. The Moto360 also has access to your calendar, so you can keep a track of your day's agenda by looking at your wrist. If you've got calendar alerts, the watch will let you know as well. This counts for all Google accounts logged into your device, which I thought was pretty nice. You can turn specific accounts off too if you don't want to receive the notifications for them on your watch. Now, lastly, the Google Assistant makes an appearance, so you're able to ask basic functions like open the fitness app or set a timer or add a calendar reminder. Now, one thing I am pretty impressed with, and that's the battery life. I could easily stretch out 2.5 days before having to recharge the device, and that's with the always on display in action. There is a power saving mode which stretches out the battery life to 3 days, but if your battery gets too low, then the watch turns into, well, just a watch. You can only tell the time on it. The Moto360's charger is extremely small and works by resting the Moto360 onto a magnetized plate. It's held in place rather well, but the flat style cable that protrudes from the most awkward place on the actual base of the charger is a little bit of a problem, as it doesn't allow the charger to really sit flush to my desk, and the cutout isn't deep enough to really trail the cable through it. You have the ability to charge this watch from flat to full in around 60 minutes, which is also a bonus if you're looking for a quick top up before leaving the house for work. The Moto360 was at one point one of the best selling smartwatches, but as you know, Motorola discontinued them back in 2016. And now that it's surfaced again, it's unfortunately lacking a lot of functionality that you can expect from Apple or Samsung. However, saying that, it's a simple smartwatch that looks pretty premium as well. Sure, the screen needs some work to keep up with the big brands, but it's still completely usable, even for someone like me with subpar eyesight. But if you're someone who wants to keep track of your fitness or has a busy schedule, then the Moto360 is a decent looking timepiece to have on your wrist. So at the time of making this video, the Moto360 can be found online for around £269, which for me is just a tad little expensive for the features that you get. So thank you very much for checking out my video review of the Moto360 smartwatch. If you enjoyed this video, then do click that like button. Please subscribe to keep up with our latest tech and gaming videos, and also let us know in the comments down below what you think of the Moto360 smartwatch. Would you go for one of these, or would you stick to Samsung or Apple smartwatches? Let us know in the comments below. As I say, thanks very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.